you all about the new BlackBerry. Please give him a warm applause, please.
So good morning, good morning. Thanks for coming out on an early Saturday morning. I think you said there's a conflict with another event, right? For those that went there, they're missing out, right? Exactly. Okay, so are you gonna be doing the application? All right, so thank you, Mark. Yeah, I just wanted to say once again who I am and what I do. My name is Daniel Doe, and I work on the BlackBerry team for about 3.5 years now. 17 years total in telecom, going back in the US, in Thailand, Philippines, and Singapore. So I have a lot of extensive background across the world. But for the Philippines, I've been here supporting the Philippines for about the last 2.5 years now. So some of the successes that we've had at BlackBerry here in the Philippines. How many of you guys remember the Nicki Minaj concert? You guys remember that? 2012? That was very, very big for us. That was the first time ever in the Philippines that a device manufacturer partnered up with a concert along with a carrier, which is Globe Telecom. And we generated 18,000 attendees at the Nicki Minaj concert. It was amazing. So since then, we've seen and heard a lot of other concerts being developed here with other vendors. So it looks like we were able to create a nice little momentum. Unfortunately, BlackBerry wasn't able to get another one, but at least the thing here is that we were able to provide a disruptor in the market. Okay? And by the way, for the audience, please feel free to ask questions at the end. Any questions, okay? So I told Mark ahead of time. I know some of the minds and some of you guys are thinking like, what happened to BlackBerry? Or I haven't heard about BlackBerry in a while. So please, I'm here to be as transparent as possible. So ask as many good questions you can at the end. I'll try my best to answer them, and then we'll go from there, okay? So have you guys heard in the news about BlackBerry in terms of our new corporate executive team? Has anybody heard?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So if you haven't heard, we have a brand new CEO for BlackBerry, okay? His name is John Chen. So John Chen is our new president and CEO of BlackBerry. He has an amazing background of turning around companies, okay? So he had this other company called Sybase. I don't know if you ever heard of Sybase, and SAP. They were quite bankrupt practically when he took on. And within 6 years, he turned the company around with a gross profit of $6 billion and then sold it to SAP. So with that track record, we wanted to take him on board from BlackBerry. As you all know, BlackBerry went through some challenges earlier last year. We were even at risk of being sold. So we hired John, and John has made tremendous strides and updates since then. And he also hired a bunch of his old colleagues as well from Sybase. So I just wanted to tell you guys, John now has a brand new team of executives that's now heading BlackBerry. Okay? We have these 6 guys right here. Okay, I won't go over every single one of them, but they are now basically influential in their segments, whether it's enterprise, whether it's consumer, whether it's QNX, things like that. So they have a niche segmentation that they are now going to own. Okay. Did you guys hear 2 days ago that we also posted our earnings for Q1? Every quarter, we provide our earnings to the media. We tell the media how we did with our previous quarters, okay? So let me just give you guys some updates on how we did in our company. Number one, we have a lot of cash now, guys. We have $3.1 billion in pure cash. So we are not bankrupt, for those that thought we were, or for some of the rumors that you hear out there. We are not bankrupt. We are not going to get sold. We have $3.1 billion in cash. We are debt-free. So I want you guys to know that. So for the developers who are interested in looking at BlackBerry, keep that in mind. We are not going anywhere, okay? So $3 billion in cash, number one. Number two, we also delivered 1.6 million phones last month, or last quarter, sorry. Okay, so 1.6 million phones were sold in 3 months last quarter, which is an increase year over year. We also reduced our operating expenditures, which is this one right here. we reduced it by 57%. So what that means is we're smarter with our money now, right? We reduced a lot of things that were unwanted. We sold some real estate in Canada so that we can have some more cash. We've also went through some layoffs, unfortunately, around the world. Okay. And then finally, I wanted to also talk about, this is a really aggressive goal by John Chen. John states that we will be cash neutral by the end of February of next year. What that means is we will no longer have any debt in terms of real estate, devices, anything like that. Services will be cash neutral by the end of February of next year, which is a great statement for our shareholders. Okay. In terms of apps, we're about 140,000 apps now on the BlackBerry world. Okay. Now with a recent transaction with Amazon, as you heard, we can now beef it up to almost 240,000 apps. Okay. But in terms of native BlackBerry world apps, 140,000. And these are BB10 apps, by the way. BB7 is a whole new app store, right? BlackBerry App World. That's about 110,000. Okay. In terms of BBM users, we have 85 million active BBM users globally. Okay, and then 100 out of that 85, we have actually 164 million that are actually subscribed that actually have a BBM pin. But 85 are the ones that are actually actively being used. Okay, so now that we transition into Apple and iOS and Android, we're now going to be available. BBM is now going to be available on Windows platform in the second week of July. Okay, so it's around the corner. BBM will be available on Windows. So now we are now available in all platforms starting at the end of July, which is great. Okay, next slide please. Okay, so I'm going to make it very simple. There's a lot of words on here, but I just want to say the company has made it very simple. We are focusing, when it comes to product, we're focusing on 4 pillars. Okay, number 1, enterprise. That's not a secret, right? We're going to go back to our roots, where BlackBerry was very strong at, and where we continue to be superior. We are going to go back into enterprise and go into the MDM solution, mobility. That's the future. Okay, number 2, we're still going to be selling phones, guys. So for those rumors that BlackBerry is no longer selling devices, etc., no, we are going to sell BlackBerry devices. It just won't be like before, where we had 6 or 7 SKUs. It's going to be very niche. Okay, and I'll show you some of those devices coming up. The third pillar is messaging and communications. So BBM will continue to be one of our biggest assets. Okay, we've now announced, if you heard in the news a couple days ago, we will now have eBBM or BBM protected. So for enterprise customers or corporate customers that want to have their employees to be in a very secured environment, we will have BBM for them. And right next to that will be like a little lock icon on their BBM. That will showcase that the BBM is completely secure and completely be logged by the IT administrator. Okay? And then the fourth one, QNX. For those that know QNX, that's a technology that is more than the automobile at this moment, but it's coming towards the mobile as well. Okay, and then cloud computing. I know that's a hot word right now. Cloud computing is probably going to be available with BlackBerry in the first quarter of 2015. So anywhere between January, February, and March, cloud computing will be available. Okay. So those are the 4 pillars for our product strategy. Okay, enterprise, phones or devices, BBM or communication, and then QNX and cloud. Okay, so raise of hands. How many of you guys know what BES 10 is? Not much, right? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. BES 10 is basically the BlackBerry Enterprise Server. So what it means is for corporations, i.e. BPI, ADB in the Philippines, example like that, they use a server, a BES server, right, for just to secure and manage their BlackBerry devices. So for BB7 devices, they use an older version of a platform, right? For BB10, we have a BES 10. Okay, BES 10 can support multiple platforms. But come in October of this year, in a few months, we are going to be announcing BES 12. Okay, the difference between 10 and 12 is the biggest one is we'll be able to support Windows platform devices too. So right now, iOS and Android is supported with BES 10. Come October, when we launch BES 12, Windows will also be supported. Okay. Thank you. So for customers, when I say customers, enterprise customers, okay? IT administrators are very, very nervous because their job is to create security, right, for their employees and for the company. So for BES 10 and 12, you as an employee, if you have your own, bring your own device policy where you can bring in your own device, whether it's an iOS, Android, or Windows, that's fine. BPI will support it if they have this BES 12 installed. Okay? It's pretty techy, but I just wanted to let you guys know that is what that server is about. Excellent. Here's some statistics that I wanted to share with you how secure BlackBerry is relative to the competitors. These are pretty good stats, by the way. Number one, we have over 30,000 BES 10 servers already installed globally. 30,000. It's quite a bit. Number two, we are at 87% of Fortune 500 companies. So when a big company, a Fortune company, for example, wants security, BlackBerry is traditionally going to be their solution. Okay? So somebody mentioned earlier about when you're building an app, even though BlackBerry may not be widespread or mass media to consumer, but if it's a very niche, but if you can get that app developed for that customer, revenue streams are pretty lucrative. Okay? So 87% of the Fortune companies use BlackBerry in terms of enterprise. G7 governments. We are in all G7 governments globally. So the US, of course, is the #1 government, right? When it comes to security, we're part of that. Okay? All G7, Russia, Ukraine, France. Okay? The other stat I wanted to provide you guys is we are now in 175 countries worldwide. Okay, and we have over 665 carrier partners like Globe, Smart, etc. Okay, excellent. So because BES 12 is not fully finalized, I can't go over it in depth, but I will give you a couple teasers of what BES 12 is about when it comes here in October globally. So BES 12, the benefits, number one, it's a multi-platform MDM. So iOS, Android, BB10, and Windows will be supported. Okay. Number two, it's a flexible on-premise in a private platform. So for the IT guy who's controlling all the employees in that company, he or she has a very, very easy and fluid system that he uses to track his devices and his employees. Okay, they can track their phone calls, their messages, etc. And they can even shoot a message to that device and wipe the device if that employee was about to be let go or fired, things like that. So they can immediately wipe it remotely. It's really cool. Number four, enterprise grade. We just talked about that. Number five, for those customers that have a BB7 platform or BES 10 now, it's an easy upgrade to BES 12, no problem. We have some mechanics and promotions that we'll be announcing in October about free upgrades for those customers, so no problem. And then, that's pretty much in the security we just talked about. Okay. So this is coming around October of this year globally. Okay. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so I know I'm looking at the crowd. BES 10, BES 12 is maybe not your cup of tea. That's fine. I just wanted to cover it, but I think this is what you guys wanted to see, right? Is the devices. Okay. So a quick statistic when it comes to the Philippines market specifically. Nielsen is a very reputable company, I'm sure you guys heard. In their 2013 report, which was late 2013, we already know this. Touchscreen is among the top 5 consumer preference, right? Let's just be honest. The touchscreen market has grown dramatically, okay? Taking pictures, by the way, Makati, what, #1 selfie capital in the world or something like that recently? you guys love taking pictures. Very, very good. Messaging, of course, and social networking are among the top 5